own homes. It's interesting times, and one of the great things that we have here at Life Vantage is an incredible culture and community, and it's so wonderful to receive messages and talk to people every day to see how people are just reaching out and supporting everybody and making sure that everybody in our Life Vantage family, knows that we're here for them. So thank you so much for being on the very first webinar today. We have some incredible facilitators lined up for you over the coming weeks. Our top executives, Life Vantage's top leaders from across the globe, our exceptional local leaders here in Australia and New Zealand, and we'll be throwing in some wonderful success, that came out a little wrong, success stories locally here. We'll be sharing with you as well, which is really exciting. So to get started, this week we have three wonderful women here for you. We have our Gail Pearson from Auckland, New Zealand, and beautiful, is it Kerry? I'm sure she'll let you know. Gail is an anaesthetist, and she's got a fantastic story of how she came to partner with Life Vantage, and she's just an absolute asset to our company, and she's an all-round wonderful woman. So Gail's going to share with you on the health aspect today, and then we're going to have our one of our newest top elites, Josie Tong from here in Sydney, share with you on how to launch your team. And then we will close with our beautiful elite from the Sunny Coast, Carrie Christie, and Carrie's going to talk on a personal development topic. So we're going to mix around the topics over the coming week. We're keeping them short and sharp into 3 20-minute segments. And we're doing this because I know many of you out there, we're still at home, we still have a lot going on, and we want to keep it short and sharp and give you powerful information that you can use as tools and resources to get out there and grow your businesses. We always say right now that we're not opportunistic, though we have a great opportunity right now to help and serve so many people to ensure that they're doing their best to support their health and wellness, and that, with the current climate of unemployment, that we have an incredible opportunity here to help people make some dollars while they're on lockdown at home. So let's get started. Please welcome the lovely Dr. Gail Pearson. Welcome, Gail.
Good afternoon or good morning to everybody over in Australia and New Zealand. And I'd just like to start off by sharing some slides with you today. Okay, so basically today I'm going to be talking about your life. And it is a really special time at the moment because it's a time of reflection, and it's a time of looking at yourself and looking what's around you, looking at your dynamics, your family, looking at what can optimize you in terms of your body or your mind, your performance, and also the new wave of altering your gene structure. And before I start, I want to just emphasize, in 2020, healthy living has taken on a new paradigm. And now we know that we have to do effective hand washing, 20 seconds, and that means proper hand washing, so that means between the fingers. And as a medical person, it's really important. I've been taught to scrub properly for operations and things like that. So hand washing is a very vital thing. Just with soap and water, effective hand washing is the best thing you can do to get rid of bugs. Isolation from others, but while maintaining connections. It's very important to have your friends still around you, have virtual meetings, have virtual drinks, have virtual dinner parties, because for your mental health, it's really important that you are not fully isolated. Physically, yes, mentally, no. And also exercising. Exercise within your boundaries. So don't start running on your treadmill and trying to do marathons if you're not used to that. Start to do gentle things with your body, but listen to your body. Start to go inside and listen to where it's all coming from. Eat healthily. We've got very limited supplies in terms of our food at the moment, so choose wisely. And also drink plenty. Drink plenty of healthy water that is not too polluted and hasn't got any additives in it. And the last thing is, if you are sick, or if you've got a fever of over 38 degrees, sore throat and dry cough, please get medical attention. And as Pam said, my name is Gail Pearson. I am an anaesthetist in New Zealand. I spend half my time in Auckland and the other half in the far north. And I'm a medical doctor, and I train specialists. So I had another 5 years or so 13 years in training. So I really feel I've got a good handle on the physiological processes of the body, and also the pharmacological processes, because I give a lot of drugs, and I give a lot of drugs intravenously. So I understand the human body. So being a doctor is actually not that important to me, because I think that the 6 best doctors of what I've listed here: fresh air. What do we get from fresh air? We get oxygen. Oxygen is so important. If we don't have oxygen, we die. Clean water. 60% of our bodies are made up of water. It's important to have clean, healthy water. Sunshine, getting outside, getting your vitamin D levels up, really important. Sleeping well, that's the time when your body has its time for rejuvenation, and the enzymes and the proteins are manufactured, so they're not using energy within digestion or brain function. Restful sleep is a very important health rejuvenation property. Diet, you'll get your vitamins and your minerals from a good diet. And remember, if you do moderate exercise, you're going to get endorphins. What are they? They're the feel-good enzymes, the feel-good compounds that make you feel as if you can just hit this day running. But today, I'm going to talk about a 7th doctor, and that's genetic health. Another word for that is biohacking, because this is the future. This is the way that we are going to progress forward. And as I said, oxygen is essential for life. And I use oxygen in my day-to-day practice every day. And if I don't, my patients die. So it is important. Why is it important? Well, when we combine it with food, we get energy. And that energy in the body is in the form of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is made in little bean-like structures in our cells called mitochondria. So oxygen in food is converted to energy. Now, the problem with this is it has byproducts, and the byproducts are called oxygen-free radicals or oxygen-reactive species. And you might say, well, so what? Well, oxygen-free radicals and oxygen-reactive species are the ones that are in the middle of this circle. On the left, we've got a healthy atom. You see it's got a balanced outer electron layer, 2 nice electrons there. The free radicals, they're missing one. So they're cross, they're angry, they whiz around the body, they do cell damage. They want to be able to get a stable electron, and they cannot do it. So what do? They damage cells. They damage cells. So if you look on the left with a nice normal cell, it's got a beautiful outline, it's got a nucleus which is egg-shaped and nicely rounded. If you look at the middle diagram, when the free radicals attack the cells, it loses its integrity. It loses the organelles that are inside the cells, and the nucleus all becomes deformed. So free radicals cause cell damage. Let's add to that environmental, physical, and psychological stresses. Now, environmental stresses, what have we got these days? Well, we have got herbicides, we have got pesticides, we've got Wi-Fi, we've got microwave ovens. Physical, over-exercise, psychological, and we've got a lot of psychological stresses at the moment. People who are in all sorts of fear states, emotional states, being worried about jobs, worried about relationships, worried about how they're going to look after their children. So this all presents with more oxidative stress, and that's toxic to us. It's really toxic to our body because we cannot deal with it. Because we don't have antioxidant enzymes, we lose the ability after we're about 25 to manufacture what we need to do to cope with antioxidant stresses. So remember, if we haven't got the enzymes, we add environmental stresses, psychological stresses, and toxins, what do we get? We get more free radicals, more cell damage, and what is that? That's aging. And we know that. We know that as we get older, our cells disintegrate. And the reason is because we have more free radical damage. So the whole thing I'm talking about today is a word called oxidative stress, and it's all about a balance. And we know that if you live life in moderation and in balance, that things are easier. Yeah, sure, you can alter that balance by having a good diet, get out in the sun, nice extra vitamins and minerals, but you cannot deal with the amount of free radicals that your body is exposed to on a daily basis. It just will not happen after the age of about 25. That is oxidative stress. So what does it do? What are the effects of oxidative stress? And have a look, if you need to Google, as everyone does these days, Google oxidative stress and have a look to see what impact it has on the body. I've shown you what impact it has at the cellular level. Well, cells make up tissues, which make up organs, which make up body systems. So it means that the whole of your body will suffer because of oxidative stress. And it doesn't need to be necessarily your brain or your gut or your skin or your immunity. All of these systems suffer. Remember, oxidative stress damages cells. Let's have a look at that diagram on the right-hand side. Do you see how the cells disintegrating even more now? They can't replicate normally. They can't perform normally. They can't make the enzymes and the proteins that you require for normal bodily functioning. It's just not going to happen. So my question is, how can we address this imbalance? How can we counteract oxidative stress? And we've talked about having a healthy lifestyle, eating plenty of fruit and vegetables, or taking antioxidant supplements. But what I want to talk about today is, why would we take them when we can actually make them ourselves? And this is the new wave, because we can make our own antioxidant enzymes called biohacking through a pathway called the NRF2 pathway. Now, this is a newish pathway. It wasn't around when I was at medical school. So it is a new science, and it's a new way that we can explain a lot of what's going on at the cellular level. And in fact, Washington State University in 2015 said, and I want you to read this, and I want you to read this twice, NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. This is a reputable university. This is an incredibly powerful statement. We have not seen breakthroughs like this since the advent of penicillin. So we know that we're onto something different here. This is a different way of looking at cellular health, and to be associated with a company who is at the forefront of this is just so incredibly exciting. And look, I can't be more passionate about it, and I'll go about it on more shortly. So the whole science is called nutrigenomics, and that's the study of food and food compounds on gene expression. Break it down: nutrition or nutrients; genomics, which are genes, the study of nutrition on your genes. And remember, your genes are the building blocks of your DNA. The DNA is where all the coded sequences are. You get half from your mother, half from your father. So the genetic expression says who you are and what you're going to make in your body and what you're going to be susceptible to later on in your life. If we use antioxidants like blueberries, red wine, what you'll find is that the effect on the NRF2 pathway is about a 1-to-1. If we use activation of the NRF2 pathway, it's 1,000,000-to-1. So this is why it's so important to understand that this NRF2 pathway is incredibly powerful. And there have been so many studies on NRF2 pathways now. It's activation. It's not supplementation. So we are seeing a pathway within the cells which is activating to moderate your genes. And in fact, it regulates about 400 genes. And today I'm just talking about the antioxidant genes, but there are many more. And we know that the press is starting to get hold of it. They're talking about DNA is not your destiny. They're talking about genetics personalizing medicine. So it is new. There have been independent studies done on the product Protan, which I'm going to be talking about today, from independent places like the American Heart Association, Louisiana State University. I think we now are up to about 31 published studies. Now, to get a published study, it's not something that the company does. These are independent. And I challenge you to have a look at any other product that's around these days that has this many independently reviewed studies. This is amazing, and I have been through virtually all of these studies, and there is a real very big bulk evidence to support this product and support its effects on the NRF2 pathway. So let's have a look at what the NRF2 pathway actually is. This is a human cell, and you can see it's got a nice round cell wall. The purple thing is a nucleus, and the little bean things, which I talked to you about before, which produce all the ATP or the energy, are the mitochondria. Now, the NRF2 is actually a protein which lives around the cell wall. So it's there already. But when it's activated, what happens is a series of complex chemical reactions take place, and eventually they make their way to the nucleus, and at the nuclear level they produce proteins which induces a change in your genes. And then the genes are given instructions to be able to make enzymes, to make proteins, and to be able to function at their best ability. Simplified way of looking at it, but I think it gives you the overall understanding of where NRF2 comes from and what it actually does. And let's have a look. Protandim NRF2. This reduces oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And that's not just something that's been plucked out of the air. This was a study that was done on people, just ordinary people from age 30 to 80. They took blood tests every day, had them on Protandim. And do you know, after the 30 days, you couldn't tell the difference in oxidative stress levels between the 80-year-old and the 30-year-old. So this is huge. And what is it made of, you might say? Well, it's natural. It's all completely natural. Turmeric, we know that's a great anti-inflammatory. Milk thistle extract, we know that's a really good liver cleanser. Green tea, great antioxidant. Bacopa and ashwagandha, they've been around for years as Ayurvedic herbs, great for mental clarity, hormonal balance. All natural ingredients put together in a certain way with certain concentrations to have the effect on the NRF2 pathway. And if we look at them separately, and this is just a little bit confusing, but if you look at the little coloured squares on the bottom, these are all the individual agents. So you might say, well, I'm just going to go to the health food shop and I'm going to put them all together and I'll take them myself and I'll get the same effect. Not going to work that way. If you look at the red big column on the extreme right, that is the effect of all of these compounds together in a specific patented combination. 18 times more effective than the individual agents alone. So we know not only does this affect the NRF2 pathway, but it affects it 18 times more than the individual agents alone. And let's have a look, and let's have a look at the bottom right graph, which is broccoli. Now, the axis going up is how much it affects the NRF2 activation, and this comes from a study paper that was done on Protandim. And we see that broccoli is quite good because you get a bit of NRF2 induction, and we know that greens are good for you, okay? We know that. But look at the top left where Protandim is. Look, same scale, look at the degree of NRF2 potency compared with broccoli. Huge. And that's what we've got here. We've got something that is quite different. It is unique, and you're not going to find it anywhere else as a natural compound. So you might say, well, what is it does? Well, it improves your sleep and your sleep quality, reduces pain in the body, and helps with low mood, anxiety, healthy liver function and digestion. People have less brain fog, and the most important thing, it'll protect you against oxidative stress once it's under control. Why is it different? Well, it's patented and it's got peer-reviewed studies, and those are really, really important. Remember, I've talked about how it combats oxygen-free radicals, which damage your cells. It's working at that level. It also produces glutathione, and that's another thing I want you to go back and Google as well. Protandim increases glutathione by 300%. This is the master antioxidant. And if you can produce a glutathione in your body, you can't actually take it orally because it's broken down in the stomach very quickly. If you can increase it by 300%, this is huge. And please have a look at that, because this is what I think we need to take forward in terms of showing people how effective this can be. The second one is the biohack number 2, and that's the Protandim NRF1. Now, remember I showed you the little bean structures when I looked at the cellular health. This supports mitochondrial health. Now, mitochondria are the breathing or the lungs of every cell. They actually breathe for yourself, give you the energy, and they make the proteins to make sure that they are replicated properly. You'll find that the organs in your body, which are very energetic, have huge numbers of mitochondria in each individual cell because they have such an important function. So what is this one made out of? Well, it's made out of acetyl-carnitine, it's coenzyme Q10, grape extract, quercetin, and alpha-lipoic acid. These are all now, even more evidence is coming out now that these things are extremely powerful. I've just read today about quercetin and how good it is at counteracting oxidative stress, and how good it is at working together with the NRF2 as well. So remember, the mitochondria are the breathing part of this cell. NRF1, Protandim NRF1, it repairs and replenishes the mitochondria and you get more energy. It improves your general well-being and it's really good with people with stressed lives. And I must actually emphasize that all of these products are 100% vegetarian. They're free of gluten, dairy, wheat, and yeast. So this has got a unique blend of ingredients. And what we've got here is we've got something that will work on the key metabolic genes to give you healthy mitochondrial function and proper key nutrients that you need. So I've talked about NRF2 synergizer at the genetic level, at your genes, and I've talked about the NRF1 energizer at the mitochondrial level for optimal health and well-being. If you look at this, what do we want to do? We want to live healthy for as long as we can. So our goal is die young as late as possible. You want to have your health span as long as possible. And as if you can see from the top line, we want the health span to go further along and then come down rather than dropping very quickly as the one and the other graph does. So ultimately, what have we got ultimately? Protandim NRF1, Protandim NRF2, these actually work together. So it's interesting that the NRF2 and the NRF1 also work together at the mitochondria, and the NRF1 opens up the mitochondria so the NRF2 can get in and work at the genetic level in the mitochondria as well. So together, these two are the ultimate in cellular health and protection. So my takeaway message is, let's age well and keep healthy. And today I want to ask you, which of those tools in your doctor's bag are you taking home today? And which of those tools are you going to concentrate on going forward now that we have more time to start to have a breath and look at what we're doing? And keep healthy. Thank you.
Wow, that was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Gail. You have reinforced my belief and confidence in the product. So we are looking forward to sharing this recording to some of our clients. So my role today is to be able to talk to you about how to launch your Vantage business. And it's so important, right? To be able to start somebody their business right. So for example, if you invested in a traditional business, you will have a roadmap to be able to launch it yourself. So let me just go through a few of my slides. So number one is for us to be able to set expectations. So when people join the business, they're investing in a business. So they need to understand that even though they've only invested less than $2,000, this business could literally change their life. So this expectation is that, are they willing to build this business? And they need to understand that this business takes time. So it's not a business that you build in a short period of time and you'll be able to have six-figure. It takes time. So really important to set expectations. So when we launch somebody's business, it's really to help them build their belief. So a lot of people, they join the business, they don't even know how. Most people don't know how to build a successful Vantage business. So people join because of excitement, they want to support somebody. So for us to be able to reinforce that, so how do we build belief is really to make sure that first and foremost is for them to have a great experience of the products, but also that you can get them a good result with their business in just 30 days. And I'm going to walk you through that. And number 3 reason why we need to make sure that we launch somebody's business is to create duplication. So imagine if all we do is to enroll people, we don't do anything else, then we have done disservice to that other person. So of course, not everybody would launch and really go full steam ahead. And that's why it's so important to have a conversation. So what we have done in our team and what I do is usually when I sign up people and I talk to them already about launching their business. So when people join, they are excited. And so I put it in their head about having a business launch. So you can do a business launch online and offline. And so in order for you to really understand what LifeVantage business is and how to launch is to make sure that you go through the starter kit that you have received. So now they're all like digital. So make sure that you do download your digital copy. So when I first started, we had a blueprint, a physical blueprint. And I thought, well, if it's a blueprint, that it means that it gives me a roadmap of how I can become successful in my LifeVantage business. So I have emphasized to my team that this is the blueprint. So this is a roadmap to make sure that we do launch people properly. So if you don't have it, make sure that you download it. So of course, so important for us in order to duplicate and launch people properly is to make sure that we emphasize to the new member that they need to download their starter kit. So my advice to you is while you're there, after you sign up people, go to their website and get them to download the starter kit. So if you have not downloaded the starter kit, because I can tell you, I've spoken to some new members, it's like, oh, I haven't downloaded it. So it's a good idea to download it right away. So in our team, under Carrie Dickey, we have got the code training. And so for me, when I launch somebody, I needed to make sure that they sign up and they watch the first module right away. Because the reason is that I want them, because they're excited when they join, I want to reinforce their belief that they have done the right thing. So Carrie Dick has done a great job and some of the other leaders on module 1. So this is so important, to be able to really help someone strengthen their belief. I also like to refer to the success roadmap. I mean, corporate has done a fantastic job. And if you have not printed this, print this and have it on the wall, because this is literally how you duplicate to get somebody from Pro 1 to Master Pro 10. That's it. Everything is laid out for us. We have every single step on how you get someone from Pro 1 to Pro 3 to Pro 5, etc. So if you haven't really looked at this, make sure that you study it and teach your team how to navigate the success roadmap of LifeVantage. Also, when I'm launching someone, I need to make sure that they're fully equipped. In this business, it's about mindset and skill set and execution. If they don't have the skills to be able to do the business, they will fail, okay? Most people come with the mindset of an employee mindset. So they need to be told what to do. They need to be shown the roadmap. They need to be shown step by step. That's why we have the starter kit. We have the blueprint. We have the code. And if you really want to be a master and a professional in this business, is to make sure that you get a copy of GoPro with Eric Worre. So then we schedule a business launch. So important is for them to be able to schedule a business launch. Sometimes there are challenges. Maybe they don't have a space at home. Do everything you can to launch their business. It could be online and offline. So schedule it, and then you teach them how to do it. So simply is to get them to invite their top 20. It's mostly the warm market. So when you are launching someone's business, is to invite their warm market, their friends, their family, their neighbors, people that they know. Why? Because it's easier to invite the warm market. You're inviting them to come and help support your business. So important to also teach them how to invite. So what I do is I get people to refer to the blueprint. Everything that you need to say, you can go through the blueprint and choose the invite that resonates with you. Okay. So then after that is to help them, you could create an invitation. You could create an online event. Now that we are mostly indoors, you could do a business launch online. Okay. And it's easy to do that. Just get them into a Zoom. You create a Facebook event, but don't create a Facebook event and keep putting people in there without their permission. So the best way to do it is obviously to reach out to them in person. The best way to invite is use the telephone. So with the business launch, it's simply introducing your business to your warm market. So you could start with letting them know the reason why you joined the business. And then you go through a simple explanation about the company, mostly about the products. And so when I launch somebody, I emphasize about the company, the story, and the products, right? And if someone is interested in the business, we'll sit down and go through them. So I find that the most successful way is you do the call to action for people to partner with you in the business when you do your closing. So important, okay? So in my team, the reason why we have grown so fast is because we bring people on board and we launch them. And before all this COVID-19, we were doing a lot of launching, on the weekend. We get them to a home meeting. People invite their family and friends to their homes, and it's been really successful. So of course now it's even, more exciting to be able to do your business, to launch your business online. So really important to be able to make sure they schedule it, okay, and invite people. So when I launch somebody, I don't want to overwhelm them. So I just teach them 5 elements. So the first thing is, when I launch them, I just want them to learn about one product. It's the pretending story. Exactly what Dr. Gail has gone through is, I don't want to talk to them about true science, everything. I want them to use everything, but for them to just understand what is the pretending story, is NRF1 and NRF2, perfect presentation from Dr. Gail, and what are the benefits. Because if they do understand that, that's what you want them to do, is to be able to love and be passionate about our pretending. The second is, I want them to set a goal. And so what I've been doing is giving them don't go to Pro 2, go to Pro 3. So I really have just been putting this in their head. It's like Pro 3 in your first 30 days if you can. And so I know that it is possible, because if you don't paint that picture, if you don't paint that goal, they won't even understand it. So I draw it for them. I show them how we could get to Pro 3 in their first 30 days. So that way, imagine if you sponsor 2 people and you go Pro 3, most of your investment, you get it back. So I emphasize to them about return of investment by making sure that they achieve one goal. So there's only one goal, one product. And I show them one tool, which is the ABC yellow pill. So whatever it is that you use in your team, I don't confuse people. I'm not sending them somebody's YouTube or a product video. No, I start with ABC Prime Time. You know why? Because that's what I learned from my sponsor, Tara Wilson. That's what they do. It's ABC yellow pill. Get them to an overview or send them an overview, and then you do a 3-way call. So one tool. And this is what they need to master. This is the gateway skill to network marketing, is to master inviting. How do you master inviting? By picking up the phone, making mistakes, getting a lot of no's. So go through the blueprint, because there's so many great invites. Who put this blueprint together? The very successful people in Life Vantage. So just master one skill. And the 5th one is to make sure they master events. So master one product, pretend him, NRF1 and NRF2, master one goal, teach people how to get to Pro 3, just use one tool. And the 4th one is one skill, which is inviting. And the 5th element is really make sure events. Get them first to an event. So when they sign up, get them to a training like this, get them to a webinar, get them to a home meeting, because that way you are cementing their belief that, wow, this is good for me. So we have a Sunday team huddle. So on Sunday, we had someone who's new, I don't know whose team it is, but you know what, she messaged going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I joined. Actually, this guy here, he's in IT, he's from New Zealand. And like for him to join the huddle and hear different stories, it's so good, right? He joined and now he's even more excited. So that's what it is that you learn how to launch people, and from there you start setting your goal in the next 60 days, 90 days, in the next year. So make it simple, make it duplicatable, duplication, right? So that's it for me. So what I want to do now is to invite Carrie.
Hello. Hello. All right, so that was fantastic. Thank you, Gail. And thank you, Josie. Just incredible information. We're so grateful to hear it. And you know what? I am so excited to share with all of you today about a little snippet of personal development, because this is where my ultimate passion is. It was 6 years ago this month that I started this business, and I will tell you that if I hadn't continued to invest in my personal development and in my personal growth, I would not be where I am today. And it's a continuous journey. It's an unending journey. And so what we're going to go through today might be completely new information for some of you. Others, you might have heard this so many times already. And I really want to encourage you to, if you've heard this before and you have an awareness, to dig deeper today, because personal development is unending and you might have absolutely new breakthroughs from having a greater, deeper awareness from what we're going to talk about today. So you might be like me, growing up in my childhood and in the beginning of my adult life, I had no idea of any awareness of my thoughts. And I had no idea, therefore, that you could change them. I was just where I was, and I had no idea that I had so much power within me to change the thoughts that were going on in my head. And it was about 13 years ago, I heard a talk, and I want to share with you just a little snippet of what I heard. This man was speaking about our brains and comparing it to a forest. And he said, we have pathways in the brain, and these are our thought processes. And it's like taking a path in the forest. It's a clear path. It's the one that you always take, and you just go. And he said, but we have the ability and the power to choose new thoughts and to create new brain, patterns. And he said, it's not easy when you're in a forest and you want to start to forge a new path. Is that easy? No, there's like no path there at all. So you've got your axe and you're cutting down trees in the way and branches. And the more you choose to take that path, the more that this path becomes clearer and clearer and clearer, and the path that you choose over and over and over again. And eventually what happens to the other path in the forest is that it overgrows and it's eventually gone. And he said that is the same with our brains. And when I heard that, I was captivated, and I had no idea how to change anything at that point. But, in these years, I have learned a lot of tools. And today I'm going to talk to you about, it's information from different people, but I'm going to focus a little bit on something that Tony Robbins has shared. So first of all, he says a breakthrough is a moment in time when the impossible becomes possible. I want to ask you, who is desiring a breakthrough in their life right now in any aspect? and who is desiring a breakthrough in their mind or a breakthrough in their business. So he gives 3 ways that we can fast track to a breakthrough, and it's strategies, your story, and your state. Now, today we're going to focus on your story and your state, because he says that strategies, although a brand new strategy can create an incredible breakthrough in your life, he says it's the least effective, because if you don't have your story right and if you don't have your state in the right place, a new strategy is going to do nothing for you. So I'm going to focus today on your story and your state. So we are telling ourselves stories consciously and subconsciously over and over and over and over in our brains and in our minds. And these become our beliefs. So some of them we're aware of. These are things that we might say, like, you know, if there's a challenge or something, we might be like, yes, I've got this. That is an empowering story. Or we could be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrible at this. That is a story, but it is disempowering. But then others are running subconsciously. So the one thing that is keeping you from what you really desire to have, the way you want to see your life roll out, is your story. And obviously it'll be a disempowering story. So we have got to learn how to have an awareness, and then how to rewrite these disempowering stories that we are telling ourselves. So if you're stuck, it's your story that is the reason why you're stuck. And they say, so if you have a disempowering story, it is not true. It is a lie. And if we are telling ourselves, like, I'm not good enough, over and over and over and over, we believe it. When you tell yourself that long enough, it becomes your belief. So we have to learn how to let go of our old stories and to learn to have an awareness of what the truth is, and to believe the truth. So Tony Robbins says, divorce the lies and marry the truth. So I want to give examples of disempowering stories, and this will probably trigger things in your mind that you'll go, oh, this is mine, or trigger something else, because we have to have an awareness around this. So some examples: I don't have enough time to build this business. I'm not smart enough. I don't have any friends. Who's gonna join me? You know, nobody's gonna listen to me. I'm not a good leader. You know, you can get the flow of this, right? I'm not worthy. What about in this world, the situation that we are experiencing right now? Disempowering stories can look like this. It can look like, nobody is going to want to hear the message right now. They're going to think I'm trying to take advantage of them. That's a disempowering story. It's full of fear. It's not coming from that place of love. It's disempowering. So examples of empowering stories are, you know, say there's a challenge. I can handle challenges. I always find solutions. Money, you know, instead of having a disempowering story around money, like, oh, lacking, you know, I don't have enough money for that. No, money always flows to me. I always find the money to do the things in my life that I choose to spend my money with. I am worthy of success. I am capable. I'm capable of running my own business. I am good enough. I'm knowledgeable. I always find ways to create time for this business. In this world right now, what we're experiencing, empowering stories can look like this. People's hearts are being prepared right now to hear the message that we have. These stories, empowering ones, empower us to act. So I want to dig a little bit deeper with these and explain it a little bit more. I'm going to give you an example of, I call it the salt story. So I'm sure there's a lot of parents on this call right now. And have you ever experienced where you say to one of your kids, say you're at the dinner table, and you're like, hey, Johnny, can you go get the salt? And Johnny goes, I don't know where the salt is, Mom. And Mom is like, oh, yes, you do. Just go look in the pantry. It's there. He gets up and he's telling himself, I don't know where the salt is. I don't know where the salt is. I don't know where the salt is. And he opens up the pantry. He's like, Mom, I can't find the salt. And she goes, yes, it's just on there on the second shelf. Just have a better look. And he's looking on the second shelf. Mom, I can't find the salt. And she goes, and she gets up from the dinner table and goes over, opens up the pantry with him, looks on the second shelf, and she pulls out the salt. And she says, Johnny, it was right here. Now, did his eyes, did he see the salt? Science will tell you yes, but what happened is his mind did not perceive it. His mind didn't process it because He was telling himself the story that I don't know where the salt is. I don't know where the salt is. I don't know where the salt is. Another example on the other side is, like, say for example, you find yourself pregnant with your first baby, and then all of a sudden you notice, everywhere you are, you see all these pregnant ladies. You're like, where are all these pregnant ladies coming from? It's because your mind is focused there, and suddenly you're going to see all of this in your real world. Now, can you think back to our businesses? If we're telling ourselves, I'm not a good enough leader. I don't have a circle. I'm not an influencer. All these things. Do you think that we are going to see and be open to and notice the opportunities that are before us? No. Do you think an incredible new strategy is going to be effective? No, because you have to change what's going on in your mind. I want to give a personal example. When we started to go through this world crisis that we were going through right now, I had an idea to reach out to one of my customers that I already knew her financial situation wasn't really, really good, and she was sacrificing already to be on just Nerf 2. And when I reached out to her, she said, oh, look, my job's not here anymore, and I actually just called in a week ago and canceled my subscription. I will tell you, I started to feel the fear. One fearful thought led to another, and then I started going, is this what's going to happen to all my customers? Oh my goodness, is this what's going to happen to my whole team? My heart's breaking. What about all the people that need this product? And suddenly I was like in momentum in the wrong direction, and I had the awareness, and I went, okay, stop, Carrie. Just stop. This is me talking to myself. And then I opened up my back office, and I saw another customer who only orders Nerf 2 every few months for a child of hers. And I saw that she had ordered for the first time, without me even having to do anything at this point, the activated essentials pack. And I will tell you, that was a huge lesson to me. It changed my story like that. And I rewrote it, and I said, you know what? This is going to be what it is. People are valuing their health more than ever right now. People are going to see, people that I have shared with are going to come back to me. People that I reach out to, they're going to know my heart. And it's, can you see the difference in that story? It's empowering. So your story is the glue that holds everything in place. And we have to develop stories that empower us to act. You probably heard the saying, change your thoughts, change your world. Same thing, change your story, change your thoughts, change your life. Now, your state is the third thing that he speaks about. And that is because your state is everything. So when your story changes, as in that example with me, when I changed that story of mine, do you think my state changed? It changed drastically. I was in a place of posture. I was in a place of confidence. My heart was activated. And suddenly I saw how impactful our entire company can be at a whole new level right now during this crisis, right? It changed it instantly. So your state changes how you think and feel. Stories sustain, but your state will change everything the fastest. This is why I want to encourage you, if you have not heard the recording or we're on live with James Yates, he is a high performance, he develops high performance leaders. And everything that he shares, I put it down to, is putting you in the right state first thing when you wake up. Because when you're doing that and your whole team is doing that, you're going to be in the right state, you're going to have the right stories, and guess what flows on from there? Strategies that work. It is a flow. So I want to ask you, how do you change your state? I know for me, turning on music, I did it right before the Zoom, turning on music and dancing or singing, going outside, feeling nature, feeling your feet on the ground, just looking, self-care puts you into those beautiful states where we can be much more powerful with everything that we do. So what to do now? So what I am talking to you about today, it's It's nothing to do with action. We know that action is the bridge to everything, right? But this is an important step to get your mind in the right place, because without your mind in the right place, your action is not going to lead you to the results you want. You have to work on your mind and your mindset and grow, and then put in the action piece, and wow, it's going to be powerful. So I want to help you rewrite your stories. First thing is awareness, right? We have to have awareness of what's going on in our minds and our brains. Maybe that is where you start, paying attention to the thoughts that are rolling through your mind. Maybe it's as simple as, you're starting to feel a bit yuck. Pay attention to your thoughts. What stories are rolling around in your head then? And then start to rewrite them. So the world situation that we are finding ourselves in right now, I want to help empower us through this. And there are so many people on this call that I know are doing this just now, because we have such a responsibility. And with our hearts in the right place, we can just fly right now and help so many people. So write a letter to yourself. I have no idea when all this is going to finish. I believe we're creating a new normal in the world. But what I want you to do is go to the place where isolation is finished, and we're kind of back to what we knew as normal as far as our daily routines and everything. And date your letter at that time. And then go write in your letter as if it was that day, and write in your letter everything that happened over this period of time that you witnessed, the things that you learned, the things that came into your life, miracles, they can happen. Your business growth that you have had, the lessons that you learned, write it out in detail, an empowered letter to yourself of the beautiful things that unfolded during this time. Pack it away, put it away. When it's all over and done and we're at this new normal, open it up and read it. And I'm telling you, you're going to find things that's going to blow your mind, because you're rewriting your story to start right now through this period, and you're going to see it all align. The other thing that I want you to do daily, and it can only take a few minutes. It can be as long as you want, as short as you want. Doesn't matter what time of day you do it. I do this at nighttime, because the state that you go to sleep in is the state that you wake up in. And so I find it very powerful for myself then. But journal every single day of the things that you're searching for to bring into your life. Journal every single day as if they have already happened. So say, for instance, you're looking to bring in, your goal is to bring in 3 new business partners this month. We're in April. Happy April. So, right, I am so excited. I have found my 3 new business partners. They are soul sisters, and we are locking arms. They get this. They were so open. They heard the message instantly. Can you see what I'm telling you? Write down the detail and journal the things that you are looking to bring into your life as if it's happened now. Because the mind does not know the difference to what you're creating in here to reality. And the quickest way to bring it in is, on top of that action piece, of course, is to bring it into here as if it's already happened. And then the third piece that is critical is to feel into it now, because without the feeling, you're not actually believing that it has happened. And that is, you have to feel it as if it is done now. Step into that place as you're writing. And if this is a brand new concept to you, the more that you do it, the more you're going to be able to step into that place and feel that. So I just wanted to finish off and ask you, what will your story be? What will your story be? Decisions, not conditions, determine our destiny. And this means that every day we have choices constantly, every moment, on what decisions we are choosing, what thoughts we are thinking. And it's these small things that add up to the flow of our life and what comes into our life. And that's why you can have this, give, for example, this situation right now in the world. You can have 2 different people. One is in a place of empowerment, and empowering stories are rolling through their mind and actions, and the other in a place of disempowerment. They haven't rewritten their story yet. And at the end of this time, they will have completely different results. And I just wanted to finish off. Cortland might be on here, so if I share any details around Cortland, you gotta fix them. But he shared an incredible story the other day that just touched my heart so much. and I've been sharing it because I love it. And he said that when he was with a company, and he was in Japan, and it was a time where they had a devastating earthquake. And during that earthquake, what he saw in the company there in Japan was that people had planted all these seeds, and the people of Japan, they started to rethink their lives, as so many people are doing right now in our world right now. They're rethinking their lives. They're knowing in their heart what matters most to them, and they're going to be rewriting a new story. And these people, I would believe, they rewrote new stories. And what did they do? They saw that they wanted something different in their life with everything that was going on. And so they joined. They trusted the people that they shared with them. All the seeds had been planted, and they joined the company. And during this time, the greatest leaders emerged. And I want you to think about that. He believes the greatest leaders in Life Vantage will emerge through the world situation that we are going through right now. So what will your story be? All right, just wanted to finish off there, and I'm going to invite Pam back on.
The greatest leaders will emerge. Wow, what a powerful, powerful statement. Carrie, thank you so much for sharing so much. I'm just reading through the chat, and there's just, the feedback is incredible. So you've really got some really useful things to share, and thank you so much. So, Carrie, what would you say from today? What's your call of action to all of our friends across Australia and New Zealand?
I would put it out there is to think about what's going through your mind. Think about where your heart is. Putting yourself into that state that is going to empower you to act on everything that these ladies have shared with you. I have to share one more thing that came into my mind. Josie shared how Paysetter, she puts people 30 days pro 3. That's an empowering story. That was a lesson to me. I realized how disempowering my story was around that, so think about what's going on in between here and here. Journal, rewrite those thoughts, and then act on what these ladies have shared. That would be my call to action.
Carrie, thank you so much. We would love to have you back again. I could just hear you talk every day. So thank you so much for joining us today, Carrie Christie. Okay, Gail, thank you for jumping back on, Gail. What can you share as a powerful closing message to all of our friends on the call today?
For me, this time is a time of reflection and a time of re-looking at your life, and it's a stop signal. And when you stop in a car at a traffic signal, you've got to decide which direction you take. Are you going to do the same route, or are you going to do something different? And let's do something different this time. And value and understand what your highest value is. And it's not going to the shops and doing shopping. It's your family, it's your health, and it's your food. And those are the 3 things that are most important, and people will come back to that, and they will reevaluate their lives, and they'll look at their health again. And that's what I really want people to look at your health. Thanks, Ben.
Oh, that's a beautiful message, Gail. Thank you. I totally concur with what you're saying. Having been able to get out to the supermarket one day ago for the first time in a long time, I was like, wow, I get to go to the supermarket. So you're so right. It's just appreciating those little things, getting to have a walk in the park. We live in the most beautiful places in the world. And, being able to connect with our family and friends on, webinars and Zooms. People are connecting. I know a lot of you, we've talked about it today, are doing, family meetings, house parties, Zooms, checking in, and it's really lovely because often life gets in the way and we don't make the space to do this. So powerful messages right there, Gail. Thank you so much for your incredible sharing today. And finally, over to you, Josie. Any closing words for us?
Okay, so what I would do during this time is to really look at how do you want to emerge at the end of it all, and then develop that person. So for example, I look at what are the skills that I need to be really good at so that I'll be great at it. You read everything, watch everything, develop it, and use it. So what I've been doing is that in my team, I've got the leaders like Pro 5, for example, they do a small training with their team, just really making use of the time that you have and still schedule your office hours. I think that's important because, you know, like when we get lost in the midst of it all, we lose our routine, then everything goes haywire. So I would still dress up, have your routine, and just keep going, because this is a good time to, you know, make sure that we keep building our business and that we don't lose, how do I say, a grip on where we really want to drive our team at the end, by the end of the year.
Wonderful. Absolutely agree, Josie. Thank you so much. So dress up. If it's not a power suit, maybe it's your LV t-shirt. We love our LV t-shirts. It's our little uniform for us that work at home. And having the structure, I think you're right, is so important. It's so easy to be at home and sort of lose all sense of those routines. But I think that's a really important message, to have that structure in your day. Thank you so much, Josie. Thoroughly enjoyed your training and the feedback we're getting in the chat here. People definitely want to hear more of Josie Tong. So thank you for being on our call as well. So people, we're going to close the call now. We really appreciate you being on. We've had fantastic numbers here, absolutely blown away. And we will grow bigger and we will improve every week. So please join us at the same time next week. It's going to be easier because daylight saving closes. So more Eastern Standard Time for us here in Australia. We have some exciting guests for you next week. We have our CEO, Darren Jensen, jumping on board. We have our Master Pro 9 from the United States, Tara Wilson, will be facilitating for you and with you. And we also will be starting our success stories next week. So I heard word on the street that we have a new Pro 6. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if our new Pro 6 is listening right now. And she doesn't even know it right now, but we're going to be interviewing her and she's going to be sharing her stories. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we trust that you take away some new tools and new resources to go out there and be your best version of yourself and share our powerful message with everyone that you come across. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Bye.